Hey guys, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris and I'm actually in Italy right now in Venice, and I figured why not do this for my review of the Mona Lisa Lego set coming out very soon. Let's check it out right now. Apologies in advance for the background noise. I had a really fun idea to edit this video while literally in Venice, and that idea became a lot more impractical, to be completely honest, as the day went on. But you know what? I'm here, so let's do this. So the Mona Lisa is coming out. It's one of the latest Lego art sets. It comes with 1,503 pieces. It's set number 31213 and retails for $100 US. Now, this is one of the most unique Lego art sets yet, because not only does it have a fully intricately brick-built frame with drum-lacquered metallic gold elements all around the frame, but it also has a bit of a 3D depth to the portrait itself. It's not like just the other Lego art mosaic sets, which pretty much just use one-by-one little studs or tiles. It actually has a number of different plates and building techniques, and even one of the coolest techniques that I saw, having the neck area actually be just ever so slightly sloped to really have almost a 3D appearance. That's one of my favorite things about putting this together. You kind of do it in layers. You have the background layer first, and then you start to build the silhouette of the frame itself, and then you actually go into the subject matter, the Mona Lisa, and then finally you finish up with the face, which is really interesting. Now, speaking of the face, that is one thing that I really do want to address, because obviously this set, when it first came out online, images dropped, and let's just say it was pretty controversial. From seeing things online, I could see people being really confused as to whether or not they actually liked the face. Some people loved it, some people really hated it, and a lot of people felt like it was a little bit too much in the uncanny valley. Well, honestly, I gotta say, in person, it does look a lot better, at least if you look at it straight on. From certain angles, like side angles or top down or bottom down, to be completely honest, the face does look a little weird. It looks just a little off, but honestly, I don't really know how else they could have done it out of Lego. I feel like they did the best they could, but maybe this is the kind of thing that maybe you just can't really capture perfectly with Lego. From front on, though, if you're looking at the actual frame dead on, especially from a distance, it looks really, really good. And when I was putting this together, I actually had a ton of friends come and help me build it, and even these friends who had never built a Lego set before were really impressed by how much it looked like the Mona Lisa. I don't think anybody was expecting it to look this good. Now, I'm actually going to start off by talking a little bit, moving away from the face and the body, talking about the frame, because the frame was something that really surprised me as well. The way the frame is constructed is actually utilizing a number of brown bricks that kind of slope outwards, like an actual painting. It's super impressive to me just how much detail they were able to brick build into the frame, literally having a lip around the portrait that goes around covered in drum lacquered gold elements to really make it feel that much more elegant and unique. It has this almost timeless feel to it, and it really stands out compared to a lot of the other Lego art sets, because instead of just having a plain black frame or something that kind of is just meant to be a border that isn't really part of the set, they really wanted to emphasize the frame as a real part of the visual appeal of the model. Whereas other sets really are meant for you to have the focus pulled towards the actual center of the image, here it's the entire thing that's all part of the art pulled together, which is really cool. I love the technique that is admittedly a little bit tedious to put together, just alternating the curvature of the individual rounded, almost D-style pieces all around the frame, but the end result is obviously very, very good. And I have to say, when I was contracted to build a gigantic Lego mosaic of my own that was 8 foot by 12 feet, I literally took that exact technique for the actual alternating curved elements, because it just looks so good to add a little more detail on the frame itself. Now, one of my favorite details as to how this all comes together is that the frame is actually held together by Technic axles. There are 3-length brown Technic axles that you can plug into the frame, and you actually have the opportunity to just pull them out and remove the frame entirely, which is super cool because it kind of means that you can make your own pieces of artwork. If you want to use the frame for something else, it is somewhat interchangeable. I don't think that was the intent behind the design, at least from looking at it, I don't think it was, but the axles are purposefully exposed, so if you do want to remove the frame, you can just push on them and they come right off. I don't know if that was intentional, but it is another really nice thing about this set in that you can actually play around with having the frame swap to other things. Moving on to the main build though, this is a genuinely really impressive model because of all of the layering of the detail. I'm going to start off with the background layer, and you may notice they're using a combination of different types of some of the newer style of like the 1x2 flat tile elements that are kind of fully marked off by a 45-degree angle. That is a pretty new piece that just came out this year, and they use it to great effect for kind of the landscape, the snow on the top of the mountains, and even some of the sky in the background. It's just really, really well done. And yes, it is a lot of layering and a lot of intricate colors, but it literally feels like you are painting it down. As you're layering down the pieces, it feels like you're putting brush strokes down on the painting, which is just such a cool aspect of the design. Now, taking a look at the rest of the model, obviously you have a really good color combination here where you've got the light aqua being used for the sky, you have some of the deeper blues and whites for the mountains, and as you go lower and lower, you have the dark tans, the dark oranges, and the nougats being used for the background border of the landscape. But of course, the main focus is on the Mona Lisa herself. You kind of start off by starting off with some of the dark brown background layering. You kind of start with just making the body, and as you're building it up, one of the things that I really want to call out that really did impress me were the hands and the strap. The hands themselves are mounted at a really interesting angled position, where you actually have the hand being on this little turntable that allows you to mount it at just the right angle it needs to sit at, and even the finger can be moved ever so slightly outwards to really capture what the hand looks like on the painting. The same goes for the dark tan strap. It protrudes ever so slightly over the build itself, which really allows you to take the strap and actually have it be this 3D component, which is super cool. Now, moving onwards to the head and face, one interesting thing that they did do was they provided alternate spare pieces. If you wanted to, you could actually choose to just not have any printing done on the face. You could just choose to have everything be fully plain with no features, and I did try that. It looks a little weird. I personally much prefer it with the printed elements for the eyes and the mouth, but if you really don't like those, and I think the designers knew this, if you're really not a fan of how the face looks, you can choose to literally leave the printing completely off, although, to be honest, that is even a little bit more creepy to me. I don't know. Something very strange about seeing a completely featureless face. Now, again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the review, one of the things that really stood out to me was how the neck was done. You have the neck actually mounted at a slight angle. There is a hinge plate where everything just fits very tightly with each other, but on that hinge plate, you actually have just a very slight curve of the neck. And it really helps it feel a bit more 3D, and it goes a long way to actually make it look like a realistic painting. Because of the way the shadows play and the lights play off of that angle, it just works out super well. Another thing I really love is the way the hair is done. The hair is layered, it's textured. You have all of the Lego dots elements curving back and forth to represent the curly hair, and it's really cool how they were able to pull it off and have these very, very slight curves to the painting. All in all, this model genuinely really impressed me a lot more after going through the build process myself. When I saw images online, I think I was about as skeptical as most people. I wasn't super excited for the set, but actually putting it together, and especially having other friends come and help me build it, friends who had literally never built or even seen Lego sets before, they really appreciated it and they were really blown away by the quality, and I think that actually made me like it a lot more as well, just seeing how much other people could really enjoy this as the Mona Lisa artwork. Now, all in all, for $100, obviously the price per part ratio is pretty good at 1,503 pieces. That being said, a lot of those pieces are admittedly pretty small. There's not a lot going on in the build, and it really is the kind of model that if you feel like you want to pay $100 to have a really nice brick-built version of the Mona Lisa on your wall, then go for it. This set is for you. But it certainly is a pretty niche set. I'm personally curious to see how well this set actually performs because it is a very specific thing. It's well done, but admittedly, it's not for everyone. That's all for this review. I'm going to go back to exploring Venice with my pals Mini Superheroes today and Ethan the Artisan, but I hope you enjoyed this quick review of the Mona Lisa. I am literally editing, reviewing, and publishing this video from a cafe in Venice right now, which is probably one of the craziest video releases I've ever done for Duck Bricks. So thanks for being here. Hope you enjoy, and bye-bye for now.